he says randomly.
What?
Oh, fuck. All right.
Oh, did you?
Well, this is a chance for us to talk about gaming.
Yeah.
Hey, gamers.
All right.
Sorry.
Yes.
My friends and I beta test role-playing games for a major publisher. I think I know who you are. One of them we recently tested gave specific skill bonuses by heritage as well as by breed. This seemed like racial profiling to me, but my friends said I was being paranoid. I'm the only POC in our group. Our feedback on the game is due in February. Should I mention this to the publisher and risk not being chosen for future testing for being too reactive?
But why do they think that though? Like,
I get,
So
well, it's
we
kind of like what
invented-
South Park just did with their game, where the difficulty of the game was based on how dark your skin was. Like, if
but
the
is
darker...
that what they said though?
Yeah, like, they're talking about racial bonuses to being different kinds of human.
But don't
at this
you get
point.
racial? Is it for humans specifically?
But
you get racial bonuses for being a dark elf.
True, but it sounds like what they're talking about is more like breed and hair. Like, are you rich and white? Then you get these bonuses. Are you poor and black? Like, or rich and poor and black and white seem to be the axis that they're trying to play off of.
I don't know. I just
I'm just gonna say,
feel like if it's a
every
role-playing
role-playing game, that's the case.
literally.
Period.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, in real life,
Also true.
But lingering in it, like, the concerns should still, I think there's still room for them to voice their concerns.
absolutely.
Yes.
Because if the way that this world is being built is white is good, rich is good, black is bad, poor is bad.
But is that what the? I don't think that's what the question said.
It sounded like specific skills, which,
Yeah.
like, if we're talking
It sounded
about...
If
like
you're black,
breed
you get to
and-
steal things. Or if you're Jewish, you're gonna make more money.
I mean, I
Or-
get, I'm not going to formulate
Or you're gonna
an
be a
opinion
producer.
because I
Yeah.
honestly don't see where they're saying if you are black, then you end up in jail quicker. Like, I don't see where it says that in that question whatsoever.
Read it one more time. Read it one more time.
Okay. Blah, 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 beta testing, role-playing, blah, blah, blah.
That's not reading the question.
Check. No, we got that part. That part doesn't matter.
Yeah. So one of them we recently tested gave specific skill bonuses by heritage as well as by breed. This seemed like racial profiling to me, but my friend said I was being paranoid. I'm the only POC in our group, which that part is what is the red flag to me. Our feedback on the game is due in February. Should I mention this to the publisher and risk not being chosen for future testing for being too, I think the word this person is looking for is reactionary.
But is it heritage based off of
We-
elven races or elven?
Yeah, we're
heritage
missing that
based
little bit
off
of information.
That's
Is it
what I'm trying
humanoid?
to
Is
tell
it
you. That's what
humanoid
I'm trying
races
to
or
say.
fantasy races?
It could even be like
Yeah.
regions within
Yeah.
the world. Like if we're talking about, okay, well this person, like everyone is coming out of this city, but this person's family is coming from the Sword Coast, and this person's family
Like,
is
even
coming
Hunger
from
Games cities,
Neverwinter,
where it's
whatever.
like, these people
Like,
mine, they're really strong.
Yeah.
These people are
Okay.
We all know they're talking about Kentucky.
These people are the hunters, so they're really fast.
Yeah.
Like, but at the same time, they're not. The question is so generic. It's really hard to say because
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like I'm basing some of the characters in my story off of a lot of role-playing games that we play, and characters have certain traits depending on their race. That's how a role-playing game is supposed
So
to be.
let's assume that if this question asker is considering the idea of racial profiling, let's assume that the game that they're testing has humanoid characters.
Okay,
And not
so if
fantasy
it
races.
does, and if that's what we're talking about, and if this game is based off of human characters and different races of those human characters, then yes, you should say something.
Well, I'm just gonna say this.
And then-
Very popular game that's out there. They've been out there. There's been a series of them over and over. I'm sure you know which ones I'm gonna say.
Nope.
Oblivion,
Yes,
Skyrim.
I don't watch
Oh
it.
yes,
Okay.
Morrowind,
Yeah.
Neverwinter.
Red Guard, the Red Guard was the first time
The
I had
Red Guard. Thank you.
Red Guard was the first time I had an opportunity to play a black person that wasn't like I had to force it. Like I had a whole race of black people hanging out in the Red Guards, and like we had our own fucking thing going with it. So if it's like that, like I understand what's going on, and because it's like I am the only person of color, I understand that you feel like you're in a silo.
Exactly.
And I feel like, and I understand that you might have some legitimate things, but I'm telling you right now, like if a person knocked on my door in the middle of the night, I opened the door and it was a person of color, and they said, "I'm concerned about something," I would hear them out. If it was a white person, I'd probably shut the door. You're like, "You're a serial killer. I don't know you. Go away." But so when I hear this question, I hear with that same lens, like they obviously know a lot of things they're not allowed to tell us, NDAs and everything else being in their industry.
Sure.
But if you feel like there's something going on, never hold back saying something, but also bring this to other people that can talk back to you. Because this is happening in February, and we're not going to have a back and forth before then.
So
Like, yeah.
I would say the same thing. I mean, if you have to give that in February, let them know. Say, hey, in my group, I'm the only person of color. I had this concern, and I realize that this may be a concern for other people. It doesn't have to even go beyond that.
Yeah.
And because that gives the developers at least something to think about and say, okay, in a group, I had one person who was a person of color who said, hey, this is a red flag for me. And that should be, if they're a good developer,
If they're a non-AAA developer.
thank you. That should be, hey, we've got something here.
And to this person's friends, like if you're the only POC person in your group, like which a lot of times I am too, I know that feel. Honestly, just say, please stop calling me paranoid. I just see things in a different lens than you do because of my experiences. Please don't invalidate that. Like, I'm gonna see things one way and you're gonna see things from your way. And it's totally fine all the way around. Just kind of don't be a dick about it, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess just because I've been in a situation like that too, but I don't know. I maybe I'm playing the wrong games because I don't see that. So it's both sides of the spectrum that you guys have to look at.
Well, when you play Mario Brothers, it doesn't get that.
I don't play Mario Brothers. That's why I don't play
Okay, I think whether or not these bonuses make sense.
games. Women are allowed to play role-playing games too. Just saying.
I think whether or
No,
not
we're not.
bonuses make sense within the context is going to be really vital to this.
Exactly.
Like,
Sure.
if you're like, oh, well, we've portrayed people from this region as being black, they're an agrarian society, but they're really good at running and hunting. What?
Sure.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But if, like, what you have explained as being like that context, like let's say that they're an agrarian society, they are used to raising crops, they're used to raising animals.
Cotton.
Yeah. Sure.
Sure.
They'd be raising it for massa because they couldn't be trusted.
Oh my God.
That's
You
why
did not
they're-
take it there.
I mean,
You took it there! I drilled it home!
oh my God.
It's true.
And this one country is made up of a bunch of islands, and they just happen to be really good at making swords and building against, earthquakes and volcanoes and stuff. Yeah. And
I'm not going to say anything about
and
that.
math.
I just know. I just got it. You said math, and I was like, oh, I know.
You're all fired.
I have a story about that later about
Right,
things I
can we
work
talk
with.
about that
Yeah,
later?
so if this fantasy world is stereotyping real world,
Yes.
Then yeah, you got a problem.
hallelujah. If it's a rich fantasy world that's just its own thing, and those bonuses for that heritage make sense within the continuity, okay, then it's probably just fine. I mean, dwarves end up getting stereotyped as being really good at mining and dungeoneering, which
And being pretty with beards. Ugh.
Not hill dwarves. Hill dwarves hate beards. Those are mountain dwarves.
Off topic.
I'm just saying, you're stereotyping dwarves.
I know. Okay, dwarves are Art Deco, elves are Art Nouveau. Okay. Just
Okay.
moving on.
Okay.
Whatever. it's
Sorry.
fine.
Sorry for
fine.
interrupting you again.
Sorry.
Next question.
My friends and I published a poetry zine with a diverse mix of poets. A reviewer attacked the publication for having too many black poets. Many of the poets wrote letters, made calls of complaint, posted on social media, and protested the attack, but none of the black poets did. This left those of us who did fight back feeling like we were expected to fight the battle alone. Any insight?
I got two things.
All right, of course you do.
One, number one,
Because of course
Number one, it is never black people's job to do your homework or to fight. They're fighting like we're done.
Yeah.
Like by showing up, we've done our work. We have other shit to do that day.
I thought they said that they were black poets.
No, but the black poets didn't show up to defend them, is what they were saying at the end. Yes.
And we've talked about this,
And,
it's not our job. And also, by the way, most black people are too busy trying to fucking survive the day.
And number two, I gotta give this to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. When is there enough women on the Supreme Court? When there are 9 of them.
Exactly. Thank you.
Their
Thank
complaint
you.
is invalid and false. Black people don't have time to show up and fight every invalid complaint about us. We busy.
We got BLM, we got
kids,
children.
we got car notes,
Everything.
we got shit to do today.
Yeah.
I
don't forget we have any
you
free time to do our fucking poetry.
I'm gonna add something right here. There's a good reason why they didn't. It wasn't their publication.
Yeah.
They were just the poets. It is not their responsibility to fight for the publication who published the poetry. It's not their responsibility. It was their responsibility to write that poetry.
And that's it.
That's it.
Yep.
Period.
That's it.
Also, we're just gonna put this out here, but if black people had to sit down and smack down every racist troll, they would never get anything.
Yo, if you pay me $30 an hour to do it, I'll make that a $40. I'll make that a 40-hour week. You take over my
You would
day
be
job
a rich
with
man.
fight right. Like I just can't. And that the complaint, the idea of the complaint having merit, like having enough merit to like steer the zine's future, like is a questionable point of the zine's character. Like, and they might not have been prepared for it. They might not have had enough people around them to like steel their resolve to what might come. But that moment should have been nothing that really existed. It should have been much like Star Wars is now. Like, we have complaints. We're busy making another movie. Suck it!
I want to point out, too, on this one here. So the guy who wrote the question there, or girl, I actually don't know what the gender is.
Yeah.
So they're making a statement here that they didn't feel like they fought for this publication and fought for their rights, and nobody else is backing them. I'm like, welcome to the real world. Welcome to what every black person has had to do their entire life.
Thank you.
Yeah, to the camera! To the camera! No!
Because every black person,
No more candy.
every POC,
I know, right? You're done.
You're cut off.
they have had to fight and fight and fight for their rights.
Every single
So-
goddamn fucking day.
And they've had no backup.
Yeah.
So
check your privilege.
I will say this though.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yes.
very much
Yes.
for fighting.
Yes.
But
Thank
also
you.
check your privilege.
Thank you very much for your fighting.
Only
but
Mary
also
said
remember
that,
to
okay.
look in the mirror and remember what you are fighting for. It's not
Because
about
something
who comes
we've had
to your
fight
defense.
for all of our lives.
It's not about who comes to your aid. It is not about anything. It is about what your personal convictions and your beliefs are what is right.
And I'm gonna
And if you're looking for a thank you,
you might be doing it for the
need to
wrong
check your
reasons.
fucking reasons. Yeah.
And
Not to sound combative.
In all white Black Lives Matter rally is still valid. Like if I was in an all white town in Magic America, because I assume it only exists.
Actually, there is a city called Magic, but I'm just saying.
Alright,
I know where it's at.
so if I was in an all-white town and we had a Black Lives rally, Black Lives Matter rally, that is still something to be proud of.
Yes.
You should be
Yes.
proud that your publication published the best poems it could find, and they happen to be from Black authors
Oh,
or
amen.
from authors of color. you should be proud of that your reach, unlike so many of the questions that we've gotten already, who's how do we get to these people, you overcame that naturally somehow. So take that racial bonus, put it on your character sheet.
Yeah, you rolled a D10.
And keep going.
Roll a D20.
And the people that complained are not the audience you want. And it's something that it took YouTubers so long to figure out, and we're just now learning, is those people that show up on your new thing and shit on your parade are not the audience you want. Your audience are other people. So evolve and just keep pushing forward.
Keep publishing.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, why not? Like, keep publishing. And if they say, you've got too many black poets, you say, you know what? We've got more poets in here that aren't black. We should replace them with black ones.
Go.
That's my thing. That's like, as you point out, you made a quite clear statement. How many women? 9. When all of them are. If there's every single poet in that book isn't black, there's not enough black poets.
And that seems like a good place to end, but I will say there's a really good DS9 couple of episodes on this where Cisco travels back in time.
Oh, I love that episode.
Where he is a writer for a newspaper, and he's the only black male writer for the newspaper. And actually, it's for a zine, a science fiction magazine, I think. One of those like.
It's for a magazine, science fiction.
Right. But he has this story, and the story turns out to look a lot like what we recognize as DS9. But his editor just kind of basically calls him crazy, and his editor is also kind of like, I want to give you credence and I want to give you credit, but this story is just so out there, and the populace is not ready for a story like this from a black man, and he's basically pulling a lot of Langston Hughes kind of things, like. Wait, what? Like, my stories need to be told, and I can't think of anything else but this story, and blah, blah, blah.
I mean,
I can strongly encourage you to watch that show, because those particular episodes are amazing.
Look at their shoulders, so strong.
I went to the store to buy my niece and nephew action figures. Where are all the black superheroes? They're coming out next year! Black Panther! Black Panther! They're coming out
Actually, so this is something that actually started bothering me, like in kind of a deep and personal way, is that when they announced Infinity War, they immediately pulled from all front-facing advertisement for Black Panther. Because Black Panther's in Infinity War, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Like
Enter fucking what? What's the fucker? Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Enter all that shit.
Yeah.
Black Widow.
Yeah.
Black
We
Widow,
want
thank
Widow. Blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But so that's been bothering me, because when I went and saw, when I've been seeing movies lately, because I've seen a few this last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Infinity War, and I'm just like, you ain't even got done with Wakanda yet. Like, give me them claws. With the claws up.
But I strongly do wonder if those action figures will feature T'Challa's face. If they're just going to keep the mask on.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's actually a really good point. So, I mean, other than that, the internet is a magical place. And there are actually companies from people that had the same concern that started painting dolls, getting dolls and repainting, shaping, and molding them to then send them back out as multiracial and people of color, because they're not seeing enough of it. Because Ruth Bader Ginsburg, there is no such thing as enough. There isn't. But we are, and a bunch of other companies are coming out with people with characters of color as well. Like, we're seeing a lot on Nickelodeon, a lot on even Sprouts and PBS Kids are
Listen to Cora. Just saying, I know it's older, but listen to Cora.
So to answer your question, Mary, Target, GameStop, Walmart sells
What is Walmart?
action figures.
Yeah, we don't deal with Walmart.
Yeah, we
here.
don't.
Oh my goodness, let me finish. God, what?
You said
All the
Walmart,
empty
we were over.
bottles
We
are
were
gone.
done. We were lost. Nope.
And to answer your
know what they do to
You can buy them on Amazon.
To answer my
I'm just
question,
saying, you can
Amazon
buy 'em on
also.
Amazon.
Answer your question, they keep his mask on. From all the ones that I've been seeing, his mask stays on.
And see, that's not okay either.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to have a removable mask, but
Yeah.
we should be able to see T'Challa's face.
Yeah. Yep.
I want a limited edition, like, Funko Pop. with
Oh,
his
I'm so
bare
fucking
face.
sick of Funko Pop.
What is it?
Such a big waste of rubber.
The final, like no,
Final whatever.
It is actual. There's
So many. You know they're just ending up in the fucking landfills.
It's same thing with amiibos. Like they're
Dude.
undigestible garbage for the planet. Like when the Earth implodes upon itself, there's
It's just
new
gonna be these
land
weird
mass.
things with big
the
eyes.
new land mass will be Funko Pop figures.
Oh, yeah. Just entire hillsides.
Like, and here we
The
are.
goddamn
Sit down
emperor
right
of
now.
Emperor of Funko Pop.
I'm war myself.
I'm not saying they're not cute.
Fine.
I just view them as a waste
Yeah,
of space.
that's what it was like. You went over.
It's fair.
Yeah.
I get them for like
I
presents
also think the rubber
sometimes.
bracelets are a waste of space, and so are hunter boots.
I get them for gifts, and I have like a small collection, but I can't.
Wait, we're just like randomly conversing now. Did we
Yeah,
answer
we
the
completely
question?
fallen apart. So anyway, like,
Yeah.
They're
There are stores right now that are selling them. Unfortunately, you know, Black Panther has his mask on, and most of the ones that I saw.
but
So,
if you look, you'll find them, and you'll have to do some extra work.
So yeah.
I have to say, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But Funko
Unfortunately, you will have to do some extra work on that. You know, it's the same though with finding it's the same with finding a Middle Eastern character. It's the same with finding, and I hate to even say this, and we think it shouldn't be, but it's even harder to find an Asian superhero.
Right.
So I
Like I remember Street Fighter action figure.
But can you
You
find
got
a figurine?
Chun-Li.
Oh no, I can't
There
find
you
it.
go. That's what I'm talking
That's
about.
really it.
That's it.
I remember Street Fighter action figures, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like,
But even as an action figure,
Yes.
she didn't
Like-
look.
But the black guy and the Middle Eastern guy were both bad.
I'm sure.
I'd like to point that out.
So I know when I was younger, I had a Storm action figure. I don't know if it's around still, but
I'm just looking
I
up,
mean,
and there's a new one with Halle Berry one, but it's really hard to find.
but they're there.
Just
They're
not really
not as
prevalent.
much as we'd like to.
Let's just say they're not top sellers.
They could be top sellers if they were advertised,
Right?
But I feel like we're also while we have seen.
If we knew that they actually.
You know, I would love to see a Ms. Marvel fucking action figure. I want to see Ms. Marvel. I want to see Faith. That
Buffy?
plus size flying woman. I think it's an Image comic. Yeah.
Give us one that we know.
Sorry. Well, I mean, in terms of the mainstream superheroes, like really, I think those are the top two. Are just Storm and Catwoman.
Yeah.
Well, there's your Geordie LaForge,
Yeah.
Star Trek.
Yeah, that's not like mainstream comic.
He's not really a superhero.
If we're thinking like during the
There's obviously Black
first
Panther,
X-Men
but
animated
obviously
series
he doesn't.
heyday, there's Jubilee. She's Chinese American.
Oh yeah, Jubilee.
Which I don't think was made
but there's no-
like,
it was
apparent
not
in the
made
show at
obvious.
all.
In the last Marvel movie, they made her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
I was
explicit.
totally okay.
But
Yeah, but not in the
for
cartoon.
the cartoon,
Yeah.
it's just like,
I feel like, and it's kind of merchandising lags behind everything.
Yeah.
So,
Because yes.
sorry, there is the DC Multiverse Superman Earth 2-3 action figure. It's like $8 at Walmart. And
It's a black guy?
He's a black Superman.
Yeah.
There's a black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In an infinite amount of universes, there's literally everything.
Right?
wait a minute. There was that recent, not terribly good Fantastic Four with.
Oh, don't get me started on the last
That was
Fantastic
the most
Four.
worst
No.
Fantastic Four that was ever made.
I wasn't gonna say
There were worse.
First off,
That
the
were-
Fantastic Four are garbage heroes.
Please let me
Yeah.
explain why the lead guy cannot fall for a black Sue Storm. But let's explain why she's a white girl adopted into a black family. I love that movie.
Beyonce?
It's great. It's fucking great.
Okay, so
I
we
was just
should-
going there to say there had to be
Yeah.
a Black Johnny Storm
Yeah.
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 action figure. Like
Well,
that
yeah.
is something that has
Yeah,
to
you would think. You would
Hey, a
think.
black Human
Yeah.
Torch is the easiest. That way they don't have the ash when he turns off the fire.
Stop it.
All right, all right.
If you want
Okay,
to
guys.
say
Okay.
no.
Okay. Says, my son is in an after-school program and has struggled to make friends. The other white boys come from affluent homes and are into sports. The black and Hispanic boys are all in theater and love gaming. My son feels like he's invisible in both groups and not included with the theater and gaming boys like him because he's the wrong color. Any advice on how he might break the ice?
Oh my god.
I think most of us can speak on this.
Yes.
I feel,
Being a black woman nerd.
In my experience, anytime I've ever been or ever felt shunned by a particular community, I just fucking suck it up and insert myself in the situation. I'm just like, oh, dude, are you seriously speaking Klingon right now? Kapla, motherfucker! Like, I'll just insert myself. And I know it can be difficult for a lot of people to overcome that shyness, especially when you're an insecure teenager. But if there's any way you can kind of defeat that inside your head and just start telling yourself to give 0 fucks, like literally 0 fucks. And if they don't like it, fine. I understand it's hard to be accepted. But honestly, I grew to understand that if nobody was going to invite me, I had to start inviting myself. And just hope that I can be the best version of myself on a first impression. But also let them know that, like, that particular small group of people who likes a certain thing, they're not the only ones who like that certain thing. And if they're going to shun you, they're going to shun you. But at least they understand that there's somebody else in the world who appreciates the same things you do.
Yeah.
And that's really my only take.
Coming from a totally different background, a totally different culture, and coming here, my first experience was meeting girls who didn't appreciate the way that I sounded because of my accent, on top of the fact that I like acted different than a lot of them.
You do.
Abby was like, I want tea. They were like, no, I don't want tea. No, I want tea.
On a serious note though, I am made fun of a lot. Still to this day, even by coworkers. Thank goodness we work from home now. But it was a situation where even like my brothers and sisters made fun of me too, just because I grew up differently than they did, so I spoke differently. And the cool thing that I learned about high school, even though it was a very shitty place, and it was my introduction to my reintroduction to America. You guys won't believe me, but I was the quiet kid. Because of the fact that I was made fun of so much. Anytime I went anywhere with my sister, I was always the ugly one. I was the weird one because I liked games and, and science fiction and stuff like that. And so, going to high school and actually, being around other people that were interested in the same stuff that I was interested in, even though there were the girls that were the ones that always made fun of us. It was literally me sitting down at cafeteria, eating my own food and hearing other people that were at the table further down from me talking about something that I had interest in, and not hardcore pushing myself onto them, but at least listening and saying, oh, well, I think that such and such is better. And then you get into this interaction with other people, and they're like, well, why do you think that? Or, well, you're stupid. Well, I will prove my point. And it becomes a thing where you guys are all talking and you're all communicating. And that's what happened. And we were literally the weirdest bunch of people ever. And the bad thing about it is that there was one of each race in our group. One of them was the Portuguese girl. She called herself the pork chop. I'm not even kidding. These are the
cute.
nicknames that everyone had for themselves. There is an Italian girl, and she was the Guide. There was there was 3 kinds of Africans and black people, because there was one that was the Haitian, there was the Jamaican, and then there was me, the Nigerian. So I was the Niger. There was the Jamaica, and there was the oh god, I forgot what the Haitian one was, but Frenchie.
That's so
Sorry.
cute. That's so cute.
And then we had a Puerto Rican, and we had a Spaniard. So it was crazy that like we were all this crazy mixture of races and cultures, and then years down the line, I think like in our junior year of high school, the Spaniard and the Italian and the Spanish all figured out that they could talk to one another in each other's language and understand each other. Because they all base their language from Latin
They're all the Latin
America.
Romance languages.
So you're gonna find so many similarities as long as you're just patient and understand that like you are not alone. You're not by yourself. There's so many people out there like you. Just be patient. That's all. And if you have those bullies out there, believe me and understand that they will be the minorities.
They will rue the day.
Really, really soon. They will not rue the day.
They will definitely rue the day.
They will rue the day. They will rue the day.
I don't know if the way I was reading that question, I don't really understand some parts of it, but the young boy, I don't know if your son is what his interests are. I mean, you've mentioned that the other boys have this interest and the other boys have this interest, but what's your son's interest? Encourage him to find others that share his interest. It doesn't matter if they're black or white or that doesn't matter. Right? It's finding those people that share the same beliefs that he does, okay, and have the same interests he does. Okay? If he believes that black people, Hispanic people, white people are all equal in his eyes, then that's how he believes, and find others who believe that same. Okay?
And
if he's a gamer and he sees
Find
somebody and
other
he wants
people,
to get in that group, the gamers, and he really badly wants to do it, walk up to one of them who's wearing a gaming shirt or something like that, and say, "Hey, I love playing that game. Do you want to come over and play that game?" Or something like that.
the Nigerian's like, you are not coming to my house.
Or hey,
I will get your ass out.
or hey, I gotta bring your devil secrets into my house,
No,
right?
But no,
Hey, I'm being serious though.
No, I'm being serious also. Sometimes
Hey.
some parents do not just let their kids
Yeah,
invite
yeah.
anybody who
But you're
Well,
But no, I get it. I understand.
Yeah, the invitation from a
Let's
kid.
play sometime.
From a
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get together and
Let's
play
hang
sometime.
out sometime.
It's not like, let's
Yeah.
hang out sometime.
Yeah.
Well,
That is
okay,
not saying,
but you also have to
I'm like,
understand
I'm
that,
not
like,
going to allow parents' racism to actually be influenced on
It
a
has
child.
nothing
So
to do with
that's there.
racism. It has nothing to do with racism.
Yes, it
no,
does.
like the Portuguese don't let people in the house either.
Do they?
No, the Portuguese like there's a lot of like the door opens a crack and just like what you so like even to me just like door opens a crack, I'm like my kid's in there, I need to go in and get him.
Oh my God.
I don't know about that. Like I can see him.
No, but like what I'm saying is for some of those
Find your
people who are
people.
not the bold ones that will just
Yeah.
get themselves into a group or just be the ones to ask.
Well, it's
Like I say, it's just if
a
you
big
just
shot.
like just
Yeah.
find other people that have the same interests or listen to other people that might have the same interests. It's
Like covertly,
weird
like don't be a
because-
creeper.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it always weirds me out. Like this day and age where you can hear people talking and it's creepy if someone hears the conversation or whatever the case is. Whereas when we were younger, it wasn't really like that. If you had people around you that were talking about the same stuff, you can interject yourself and it's okay.
And bartender, it's totally creepy. It's really funny.
I do want to put something out in the question though. I kind of like us to kind of talk about. So, kind of talk about how he can make friends, but something I want to actually talk about is the reason why he doesn't feel like he can make friends is because he feels like he's the wrong color.
Yeah.
And that's what I think they're asking.
So are we getting at
Okay, all right,
are we
all right.
getting at that he's white or that
Yes,
he's not the right POC?
I'm assuming he is white because it says the other white boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it mentions that the black and Hispanic boys that are in this, these are all in an after-school program, are into theater and gaming. He goes, my son feels like he's invisible to both groups and not included
Because
with
he
the theater
doesn't
and gaming boys.
connect with the
So-
white.
So
I
I'm
got
assuming
again.
he loves theater and gaming.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, boys, because he's the wrong color.
But that's
So-
what I'm saying. Like, it's literally a situation of if you hear people who have the same interests as you, you know, slowly strike up a conversation or at least come in on the right part of the conversation. Because what I was trying to point out was that, you know, I'm this black person and there are these other people who I don't know what race they are. I just know that they're talking about one of my favorite shows. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I like that person too. And you know, they go into whatever reasons that they go into. But I started a conversation with people.
I want to
always
throw some
depends on
life
what
hacks
works.
down for this kid. Number
Yeah.
one, learn how to GM. If
Yeah.
you're willing,
Yes.
if you're willing to be the GM,
Oh yeah,
if
you
you're
got
willing
friends.
to be the GM,
You got
you
friends.
have friends.
Yeah.
Number two,
Some people who hate GMing.
number
oh my
two,
God.
carry 2 magic card decks around with you.
Yes, thank you.
And it's
Especially in
hey,
Seattle.
Hey, I want to test out my decks. Will you help me?
Yes,
Yeah.
always.
Like life hack number 2
Always.
is that. Number 3, if you are into theater, something you should already be doing is learning monologues and songs. Continue to do that. Continue to do that and find your audience inside that group of people that's like, hey, I'm working on this monologue, can you tell me how it sounds? Like, engage them on your mutual interests, and it's a little bit of like just kind of like hacks in the system. But my number one is learning how to GM. Like I made when I needed friends when I was at my lowest, is when I learned how to GM.
Yeah, depending on the gaming that they're talking about.
Sure.
Yeah, no, but even in like hardcore game, like video gamers, you will find people with the right tabletop that want to GM. Get a bag of dice, learn how to GM and do short-term GMing, especially in an after-school program where not everybody can have their DS with them, if they even have that, or Game Boy, or whatever kids are playing these days. If you have a bag of dice and you know how to GM, like that's all you need. You roll up some even quick one-time characters and tell a story. Like work on that.
Yeah. One thing I used to kind of unconsciously do was I would make friends with my teachers. I was that girl. Like not a total teacher's pet, but I was like, I know, and I understand that it's difficult, but if you're in an after-school program, chances are good you have an advisor, some sort of teacher, some sort of authority figure, whatever, running the group or whatever. You know, you might be able to ask that advisor, like, hey, is there a project I can work on? Or like, you know, give me a task. Say like, give me a task. And that teacher, if they're any good at seeing you and seeing what's going on in your social realm or whatever, they might pair you up with somebody, and that person might end up being really chill. I mean, you know, you're not gonna win them all. You're not gonna make all the friends. But if you're stuck in a group setting, maybe you can strike up a conversation with one person, not be concerned with like everybody in the group.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
that person can introduce you to other people.
Right.
Too, so there's always one.
Right.
And I guess an after school program sometimes isn't always the best place to make friends.
Sure.
Because most of them, I hate to say that, and I realize there's a lot of people go there for send their kids there for that reason, but it's really not, because most of the kids are in an after school program, usually go to school together, and here these kids go to school together, these kids go to school together, and they're all stuck in here, and then they have their clique. They're not looking to make friends. So, you know,
Fun fact,
Yay, fun facts!
there are millions of gamers.
Yeah.
If, like, there's this community at this school, in the after-school program,
That's a good fucking school.
that
I would have liked
they don't have a gaming crowd that's your crowd, go find another one.
I was gonna say, there's a lot of arcades out now for kids. All around. I know there's one in Renton. There's like 3 here in Seattle.
Don't go to the one in Tacoma because it's a crack arcade.
But no, I'm just saying there's a lot of, and there are a lot of games, and like there are a lot of 2-player games that you need. And I mean, okay, this is bad. That's how bad I am because if I'm bored, I'll go to the arcade and I'll start playing a game, and usually some other guy or other kids, I'm like, sit down, help me! It's like, okay, we're shooting dinosaurs and okay. Anyway. All right, but
dinosaurs are a precious resource.
Yes.
and
they're
it's a
extinct.
Jurassic Park one, and you're in the Jeep in it. Anyway, but anyway, I'm just saying that's when I was younger. I know this is a different era, but that's how I made friends. As I went to the arcade and I played video games with people. I would assume that that's still relevant in the gaming industry or gaming realm. Sort of, yes.
Video game arcades are kind of on the way out.
These days it's more barcades like that we have around us.
Well, I'm saying therefore that's for the older crowd though.
Yeah, I know.
I'm talking about for the younger kids.
But I haven't seen anything other than GameWorks.
But for like game shops,
This is where games go to die.
I know. They're all like first-person shooters.
but like game shops, especially if we're talking about RPGs or tabletop, like anything in that genre, go to a store. You don't have to buy anything. Just ask literally any employee. Hey, I have a kid this year, like this old. Where can they go to game? If the answer is not right here, Wednesdays from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock, they will have a different answer for you. They will be able to point you somewhere.
I was like, I know 4 in Everett.
Dude, Everett is flush.
I know.
I used to-
I was like, woohoo.
They're getting so
I used to
big
work
now.
at a game store, a tabletop, and every single employee would be able to answer a question. Okay, you want to play D&D. Your kid wants to play D&D. Okay, well I know this location already has a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old playing here. Oh, your son actually wants to play Magic. Oh, okay, well we actually have like a 13-year-old who plays Magic here on Tuesdays. Or like, assuming we're talking about like a decent sized city, there are tens or hundreds of thousands of gamers who want to play somewhere, who want to play with you.
Yeah. Most of them will always welcome a new player.
Yeah. Finding them is hard sometimes, but like, go to a game store. Literally any game store.
Is meetups
And
still a thing too?
As for theater,
Usually for adults.
I would
Is it
say
only for adults?
As far as I know.
Okay.
I'd say as for theater,
Because I know that they do it for conventions.
there's the Children's Theater here. There is the Village Theater. There is Meta. There is. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of
children's
children's
workshops,
theaters, children's workshops that are all throughout like Seattle, all the way up to Bellingham. That I know of that.
Facebook
And I'm going to tell you this right now. They are always looking for kids. They never have enough. So I'm like, and if they want to get with it, they want to get with friends and make friends really fast. Being in a theater production is a great way to do it. That's all I'm saying.
Also, if the kid's into performing arts, if they have any interest in film, SIF has a specifically designed children's program. They will take the kid and be like, okay, what do you want to know about the film industry? Here. Here is an industry professional. Here. And your child will make a movie.
Too late, you already pushed him on
And your child shall make a
And
movie.
if they're in like this Seattle area, there's a program called Create for You also that works with kids that want to create films or anything to the imagination. So
Yeah. And I should say that most of them are a lot better than the after-school programs.
But
and it is an after-school program. So
But I mean, and there might be a reason that they're at this after-school program. So that might be why they might be there for a reason.
Right.
But it'll take a little work. But I don't see anything that's insurmountable You absolutely be patient. And something else that you said, listen.
Yeah.
Listen to what these people, regardless of race, what their game they're interested in,
Yep.
what genre it is. Start doing your homework to how you can socially engineer yourself in there. Because some people do have it easier.
Yeah.
It is way easier for me to walk into a group of people that have something very similar to me, like even give it race, even gender sometimes, and be like, sup.